Okay, welcome. Modes. Stop the madness. I think you can tell from the title. I've got some. I've got some strong opinions about modes and learning modes, and I just want to make sure that you don't make this too difficult. And so, one little word before we get started. We're going to be working in F Dorian with the F Dorian sounds. Key V flat major, right? But try not to confuse the word mode with the word scale. It's the source of a lot of problems. And you wouldn't think so, because it doesn't matter what you call something, right? As long as you can hear it, you can play it, then you should be fine. And that is generally true. But if you're a developing player and you confuse the word mode with the word scale, just use them interchangeably, you might get to a point where you think, oh, I've got like 20, 30 scales to learn, but that's not true. And I don't want you to think like that. It really, I mean, if you have that hanging over your head, it's really kind of a bummer. So don't do that to yourself. You just want to think of two scales. Much easier. Major scale and some type of minor. And I think of it as a hybrid minor. That's for another discussion. Harmonic minor with a little bit of the other sounds thrown in, some melodic here and there. But really just a major and a minor. And then you can become a very good player. You throw in some other things, a little blues sound, maybe a little symmetrical scale. But the point is to become a competent player, to understand modalism. So, I mean, you never hear scales. That's what I like to say. You only hear modes. Your bass note, so if the bass note, if the bass player is going, just walking bass, right? And you're playing off that F, even though you can play a lot of other notes, but coming back and ringing that F, the listener hears that F. You call it the pitch axis, whatever you want to call it. That's the root. And then someone who's playing they're playing major, E flat major, your note, your F, modalizes that major scale. So you modalize the notes of the melodists, the soloists. So the color in the mode is generally thought of as this off the 2, the 4, and the 6, the 9, the 11, and the 13. And so a great way, now you've heard this a million times, right? The minor triad. So you can use, or minor 7. So you can use those notes to introduce for your own hearing, for your listeners too, but just to practice, to introduce that minor sound and then land on a color tone. Check it out. That was the 9. I'll try the 13. Man. I mean, it's such an open, kind of a poignant sound, that 13. And that's the note that characterizes that Dorian sound. I think of it as really a mandatory record to own if you want to get into this type of sound is Kind of Blue, Miles Davis. Just put that on at midnight, every night, for weeks. You really get to a new level by listening to that. So I'll emphasize some of those color tones, the 9 and the 13. Little bossa groove here. Sweet, man. You just want to experiment. To play the triad. Get some rhythm. Check that D out. Again, experimenting, using a familiar sound and then landing on the, one of the color tones. So in this case, I was using the G and the D, the 9 and the 13, the 2 and the 6. And that's the key of E flat major. Okay, so a little more. Sweet sounds. Here's a triad. That 13. You could use a scale fragment too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check it out. Using simple sounds that you've heard before, triadic stuff, throwing that color tone, you start understanding something to compare the color in the mode, something to compare it with, and then you start assimilating that modal sound, and you want to do that for all of the modes in the major system, and then start working on the other ones, and just, you know, have a little hybrid minor. You got major scale stuff, you've got minor, you know, I say harmonic to start. You can start adding other things later. Start learning how to play on minor 2-5-1s, assimilating these beautiful modal sounds. You're going to be way down the road for your development and have a great start for the color for your solos. There you go. I hope you liked it. I'll see you next time.